Three? Why?
He answered every part.
Or did I know?
Did he raise? Did he add new information? So what would that mean? Your A was good. Your C was good. It supported your A, and then you restated the question. Your E was good. You just did not add new information. Okay.
Yes, okay.
Ask him how he can improve it.
How can you improve?
Add new information.
And do you know how a little bit more? How can you add a bit more?
By
Maybe new information and a bit more details, or the main parts that happen. Okay. So you guys agree? Two? Okay. Where's J? Okay.
Truth decides to climb the Ferris wheel to try to find Eric's sister and get an advantage. On page 141 to 142 it says, "None of them look at me, so I walk toward the Ferris wheel, ... I am seeking higher ground." This shows that the Ferris wheel was a good idea to climb and get a jump ahead. Climbing that Ferris wheel just must be hard and scary. I wouldn't accomplish that.
Okay. So I liked it because it's showing what strategy she used. She tried climbing the Ferris wheel so she could get ahead of the other team.
And you're putting it like if you were the person like in the story that you wouldn't be able to do that. I like that.
Okay, so you got it 3?
Read your art.
Trish thinks that her team will win the competition because she looks at what all the people on her team have in common, and she helps them that will help them win. On page 135 it states, "Four told me I was fast. We will all be faster than Eric's team, which will probably be good for capture the flag." This is my E. This citation helps me support my answer by saying that Trish says that her body frame and speed will help them win. They probably will win because Eric's team is strong and buff, which might slow them down.
Okay. I like how you explained your E with your C, because like your E like is a citation, so it doesn't really explain what it says, but your E shows why you chose the citation.
I agree.
So a 3?
Yeah.
I agree.
Now the discussions. Let me grade. So Vanessa, what did you get? 3.
Okay, so on page 128 it says, "Why does Tris find disturbing that the gate is locked from the outside rather than the inside?" I know this one, yeah.
Open to page 128.
I'll let you guys do it because I...
Nice. And what did you learn about her faction?
Keeping them safe, but then when she saw them walking it from like the outside, she like noticed that they were like trying to keep them in instead.
And what did he say to her at the end? And what was her response? Do you remember? At the top of page 128.
So in this video you can see the small group instructor and the teacher spend a little bit of time with each group to keep on track. So Jesse's on this side, he covers this side of the room, and these 3 teams, maybe the 4th one at the end. And then Mrs. Mulchan, who's our certificated teacher, is working with her 4 teams. They spend about 5 minutes per team as they go through this initial daily routine of reviewing the chapter that they read the night before. Each of the students have their questions posed on their IMAX at the end of the table.
Contributed to the setting, contributed to
Norma, can I interview you real quick?
Sure.
All right. We have a couple of people from an organization called NATE that are helping promote personalization. Can you describe this session, what's going on in this time frame during your class? And what your role is and what Jesse's role is?
Okay, sure. So right now the students read, they're responding to their overnight reading. So they read, actually in this case, 2 chapters because I haven't seen them for 2 days. And they had homework where they all had to write out answers, and then there's some discussion questions here. So in their groups of 3, they're working through those discussion questions. They have papers that show them how to evaluate the questions and the way that the kids are answering. So they're all just working their way through them. Jesse and I are going around the classroom. We each start on one side and we go along listening to the conversations, correcting any things that we hear that need correcting, encouraging great conversation. And when we meet in the middle, we know that we've gotten to all the teams. And that,
How does the leadership work within the squads work? Like, what are the different roles that we have going on in this class?
Yeah, so every squad has a leader. In this case, it's Ernesto. The leaders are all the kids sitting at the top of the table.
Yep.
There's a student who is sort of the driver who runs the IMAC there and makes sure that all the kids are staying on the same thing. And they're all really mutually accountable to each other to get through the material. They all peer edit together, so there isn't a leader in terms of that. The leader is really the one that just keeps them going and getting the things done for the day.
Managing the time,
They're
etc.
responsible for making sure they stay on their schedule. And then there's a spreadsheet that they have where the leader enters work that they get finished. Like if something's due, one of the things we want to make sure is that everybody actually turns it in. So the leader makes sure that everybody does that. The leader, and then they grade together. So the leader doesn't grade, everybody grades, but the leader records the answer for the grade.
Definitely pretty high engagement for a bunch of middle schoolers, eh?
Very high.
Yeah. What have some of your big learnings been this year as far as trying to be less of a stand and deliver type of instructor?
So if you're not going to do direct instruction and be talking to them, when you prepare materials for them, you really have to try to anticipate all the questions that they're going to answer, the things that they might struggle with, and to decide which ones you're going to let them struggle with and which ones you're going to answer so that they can be productive. I've learned that they work well with fairly short-term goals, so it's good that they know what's due each day. They also work well with smaller time frames and, like, I think all of us, with some kind of a schedule that provides accountability. So we have those kind of pieces built in.
What do you think the students have gotten better at this year? Like if you were to list the top 2 growths that you've seen from them?
So I think they've developed a real awareness of scheduling and the use of their time because they're in charge of that now instead of me. And I think they're starting to learn about learning. That you're gathering information in order to do something eventually, and that in that gathering you're not just taking what a teacher tells you because the teacher's telling you. I hope that they're learning that information gathering is so that you can actually be successful at a task at the end.
Good. Would you say there's some metacognition going on for the kids learning to think about their thinking and how to set their own goals and achieving those goals?
Yes, and so both of those are about that, right? Both the goal setting, they're realizing that you have a certain amount of work to do, and you have to break that work up and work towards small goals in order to reach larger goals. And you have to figure out whether you're doing that well or not, and if you're not meeting those goals, how come, and what we need to do differently. We probably should work on that more. And the other thing about the fact that information in a classroom is not just something you write down in a book, but information is something that you actually use to learn and to accomplish something.
Yep.
And that's metacognitive too.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
I'll be back. This is their hour and a half of the day, which is projected on the teacher's main screen. They also have access to this website that the teachers created that they log into each day.
Yeah, those two important parts.
This is our 7th grade math classroom. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Holly, what are you guys working on today?
So today we're going to go a little more in depth in our new standards 7G6. So right now we are currently writing down the rest of our vocabulary words.
Okay, good. And then what are you going to do after you do that?
So after this we're going to do some little practice of finding volume of figures, and we're going to probably work with triangles and trapezoids to go a little more in depth because they have different formulas.
Let's move on. Okay, Ruby, can you read the first vocabulary word? And Matt, can you define it? We'll go over it and then we'll write it down if you have time. Matt, can you define area?
Area is everything inside of a shape.
And Giselle, how do you find the area? What's the formula?
You do length times width. So then it'd be like, so since the length is 10 and the width is 10, you just do 10 times 10.
Thank you.
Is that completely correct?
Well,
Okay, so Giselle, for what you said about 10 times 10, you did it about a triangle. So
and then you have to divide
yeah, so the formula is different every time. So usually it's length times width for a four-sided object like a square or rectangle, but for triangles you would divide it by 2, and the area for trapezoid is different.
And most importantly, what are you calculating when you calculate area?
Everything inside of your shape.
And how is it measured?
It's measured.
Ask your team.
Measured by length times width. Length times width. Height times height.
When we measure area, what are we actually measuring?
The outside.
The perimeter.
The perimeter.
No.
Then.
Sitting on this base. Okay? So step one,
Okay, so if we have,
area of the base. So write that down. Step one.
but if we have a square, we're measuring everything inside of here.
That's right. But how do we measure area? What's inside there? Just squiggly lines, or what's actually in there?
Square units.
Nah. So I want to see that each time, okay?
Thank you.
So what was step one, Karina?
Find the area of the base.
And when I say find the area of the base, what does that mean?
So, because we didn't know that, can you guys write that down in your vocabulary?
And then start filling in the formula.
Brody and Ian, can you guys describe what you're doing in this station?
Yeah, so basically,
Basically, we've got to do Excel,
Okay.
and so if we done, we pick more topics.
Okay. Excellent. So you're working on your topics?
Yeah.
Which one are you on right now?
I'm at F6.
Excellent. Thank you, Matthew. And who's the who's the squad leader here?
I'm the squad, like of this squad.
Yeah.
Yeah, me.
Okay.
And then I'm like the leaders, the major,
Oh,
basically.
you're the major. Okay. Tell me what the squad leader does during IXL.
Okay, so the squad leader during IXL, they whenever they finish a topic, we're supposed to mark it for them.
Okay.
Like we have a spreadsheet
Say this.
where we mark all their IXL topics. So like everything they do, we put an X.
Okay. Good. So let me see your progress, your personal progress.
Mine is right here.
Okay. So you're working on the next one. What's the next one?
AA3. Or, yeah,
AA8?
Yeah.
Okay, great. And what do you do, Brody? What's your role?
So mine, I basically the same thing as Ian, but I also go around to these two groups and I basically ask them if they need help or if they want me to fill out the chart for them. And so sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's a no.
Okay. And are you able to keep track of like your whole team that you're in charge of as far as who's progressing, who's not?
Yeah, it really just depends on the sheets. Like I can see if they're falling behind or if they're doing really well.
And what do you do when they do fall behind?
Help them out, help them out more and more, or more than all the others.
Any goal setting with them, or?
Each week we have to do 4 Excel topics,
Okay.
and that's our grade.
Okay. And what? Yeah. So you have a weekly goal.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're there to support.
Yep.
How is it working for you?
Pretty good.
Explain.
Right now I was helping Brody with one.
Okay.
And right now I just figured out the answer.
Great. So you were actually helping your
Yeah.
major. Good. So it goes both directions, right? This leadership thing. Excellent. Oh, another station. What do we got going on over here?
We're doing slides to.
This is just like a
How
pop.
do you? I don't know how to say.
This
You
is just
speak
like a
some
pop
of it.
video. This is proof of proficiency. So right now we're doing ours on 7G4, the area and circumference of a circle.
Okay.
And we have to put down vocabulary, our real world problem, and then we have to solve with base
Okay.
for every single question.
Okay.
So this is just like a checkpoint in our knowledge to see if we're understanding the standard.
Okay. And are you guys working on one group project, or how is that working? Tell me, Hussein. LA. I mean.
Yeah, this is basically a group project, and we have to do our slides. Like, we do what we know, like we find like images related to it, and then like we have to write down our work. So it's kind of like a movie where you have to write your script down, and so you put all your work on a paper, and you have to like find a way to like summarize it and put it on the slides.
Got it. And Cadence, are all 4 of you on the same document?
We're on the same slide page, but we're all doing our own slides.
Okay. So you guys are all contributing to the final product. And what do you do at the end, Cadence?
We turn it in.
And we present.
Say it. I couldn't hear.
And we present to our other groupmates.
Oh, okay. When you guys present, who evaluates the work that you do? Is it the rest of the students, or is it just the teacher?
It's Miss Lopez. So yeah, it's just basically the teacher.
Speak up.
It's Miss Lopez.
Oh, Miss Lopez does that. Okay. That's maybe an ad. We should have you guys learning how to evaluate each other's work.
All right, so read this again. Some common misunderstandings are.
Some common misunderstandings are some people may stir the diameter of a circle and get the wrong area. When you are trying to find the area, you will square the diameter instead of dividing the diameter into the
Who's your squad?
Squad leader?
Are you the squad leader? Okay, good. How's your project coming along?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, tell me, what are you working on, Bella?
I'm working on 7G4 solving area and circumference of a circle.
Oh, what's the circumference of a circle measuring?
Circumference. Oh, circumference, a closing boundary of a curved geometric figure.
Very nice. Thank you. Nice job. How are you guys doing over here? Who's our squad leader?
Me.
How's it going, Giselle?
I'm good.
How's your team working together?
We're working very efficiently and very hard working.
Yeah, you're good squad?
Yeah.
Who's ahead in IXL right now?
I think it was Jackson.
Jackson, way to go. Nice work. And who's this in the middle? Oh, Alina, I should have known. Alina, what are you working on right now?
Well, so she's working on our pop video, and I'm working on our packet that we're supposed to fill out.
Okay.
We have to turn it in, so it's pretty much everything we're just gonna put into our pop video, but it just like prepares us for what we're gonna write in there.
Let's keep practicing.
All right, thank you. So the students are in these rotations for about 25 minutes, and then they rotate to the next station. So this is our IXL center, and then this is the student-led, teacher-led station, and we just finished up in the proof of proficiency.
We found that our first base, which is 12, we can now multiply it by its height, right? So Deborah, what is 12 times 9? 12 times 9 is 108. Yes, so 108 is now our volume answer, right? So that is how we satisfy prism.
Trenton, are we focused?
Hello.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Tell me a little bit about your learnings as you've been developing this model the last couple of years, and what you've seen the students, how they've developed.
So when we began last year, we put a lot of trust in the students to just kind of take the standards and run with it. And a lot of them enjoyed that, but a lot of them struggled with where to look for information and how to really master those standards. So we kind of took a step back and we started building some curriculum to help aid in their research of these standards. So now this year, since this is the second year, the students are able to pretty much lead their own direction over there. I step in every 5 minutes or so and help them and make sure they're on the right track. And then in the pop section over here, they're working on a different standard, showing their proficiency based on the learning they did in the teacher-led group.
Okay.
And then in the IXL group that you see here, they're working together on more practice of the standards of the standard we're currently working on.
And what do you see in the way of students becoming truly self-directed, their own ability to lead each other, set goals, teach each other?
Yeah, so it's been growing. I mean, at the beginning, we had a difficult time with students leading other students, but now they've had lots of practice, not leaving each other behind. They always have a mentality of, well, just because I get it, the rest of my group might not get it, so I need to stop and help them. They hold each other accountable. They look at their spreadsheet, making sure that they've gotten those 80% on IXL or that they finished the real world problem on their pop script. There's just a lot of collaboration every day, and we have the team leaders, and then we have the overall group leader that makes sure the team leaders are doing their jobs as well.
And you taught lower grades for many years,
Yes.
and are teaching middle school for their second year.
Yeah.
Did you ever think that your classroom in a middle school would look like this, or that kids would be able to do what they're doing in here?
No, I taught first and second grade, and I was comfortable there. I was nervous about how the middle school students would react to such hard standards. However, they seem to be handling it just fine. And sometimes, it is difficult and we get a little challenged, but that's the opportunity where I can grow as a teacher as well as the students can grow as leaders.
And what were some of the transitions you had to go through in your mindset or your mind shifting around the way you are teaching versus being someone who's maybe standing up in the front of the classroom, delivering the instruction, calling on kids? What did your mind go through as you've shifted the last 18 months?
Well, at first I was like, am I even a teacher still? Because I'm not standing in front of the classroom every day for 45 minutes to an hour. However, I've realized that I am still that teacher, but I'm helping them become their own kind of teachers and their own leaders in their own learning. It is still a great opportunity for me to grow, to make sure that each and every child is reaching those goals that either they set themselves, their team sets for each other, or I set for them.
How do you enjoy this type of environment?
I enjoy it greatly. I feel like it's less pressure than if I was a normal teacher teaching, a class of 30 in front of the whole class all the time.
Yep. And what do you think this is beyond just learning, the volume of rectangular and triangular prisms? What else are our kids, do you feel, are learning that they wouldn't get in a traditional setting?
Well, I definitely think that they're learning from multiple modalities. Here's, strictly online kind of learning, but they're still held accountable to look at their past notes. In the pop area, it's on the iPad, but they have to plan out before they even get onto an iPad, and they have to work together to make sure that it makes sense, that it's covering the standard. And in the teacher-led group, it's just a collaboration. There's never not talking, and if they're not talking, that means they're not learning. So it's okay to talk, which I think we've kind of taught, don't talk, be quiet, listen. But if there's no talking going on, there's no learning going on either.
Yeah. And what ramifications do you think this will have for the kids in high school, college career?
I think these kids are going to bring something special to the other kids they get in contact with in high school and college, because they will already have those skills of, let's not just sit here and be quiet. Let's sit here and talk about this problem. Let's think of a different way to solve it. Let's think of a place we can research on this topic, whether it be math, ELA, history, science, statistics, whatever it may be. They have those skills to go farther than just what the answer is. Why is the answer the answer? Thank you.
Well done. I see you up and moving around quite a bit. What are you doing during this time?
I'm just going around helping others to see if they understand what they're doing, like Giselle. She really doesn't understand what to do in this.
Okay. And so how are you supporting her?
I'm supporting her by giving her the steps to help solve this equation. So if she gets confused on whether it's perimeter or area, then I could just hopefully guide her through.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is it helping, Giselle?
Yeah, it's very helpful because he doesn't give us the answer, he gives us the steps of the problems to get us the answer instead of doing the work for us.
He sounds like a good teacher.